Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to another episode of Intuitive Creator Spotlight. I am Stella, your host, and in this playlist, I invite amazing intuitive creators who embraced their passion, their path, and now are on a mission to help other people connect with themselves and with the world. Today, I have here with me Rowana. She is a passionate Qigong teacher and a biodynamic craniosacral therapist. She radiates a lot of calm, grounded energy in absolutely everything that she does. Hi, Rowana. Welcome to this episode.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm really looking forward to sharing with you.
Same here, because what you do is so fascinating, and I cannot wait to hear more details about your journey, your story, and the work that you do, because it's so precious and so much needed in the world. So, can you please tell us what what inspired you to start this journey? Can you take us back to when you first discovered Qigong and how it began to shift your life?
I think for me, Qigong, we express movements that mirror nature in our natural way of releasing from childhood. And I first met Qigong when I was about 20. And I was in London and I joined a class and I was just amazed by how I felt when I left. And over the years, I kind of went full circle and I tried yoga, many different things, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but I came back to Qigong. And I just sort of noticed from going through the training myself to become a teacher, how these movements have stayed with me all the time. So ways that we just let go, that we naturally release, that we move the body. And because Qigong mirrors the movements of nature, it's so natural to the energy within us. Our
Mm,
body knows it. It's like an old memory.
mm.
And so then I decided to study it and really, oh my goodness, what an amazing journey. And I've trained with Lee Holden, Holden Qigong, and I just love the way that he teaches. It makes it really accessible to our modern day life, which is very busy. So we have all the essence of the Qigong, but making it accessible to how we can utilize it here in the West, where our life is really busy, it's very fast, and it just reminds us to slow down. And I think I'm quite a very energetic person. So for me, I think I naturally came to Qigong because it enabled me to slow down. It enabled me to move a little bit more inwards. Not that, I was always looking outwards, but I just always on the move and probably a little bit ungrounded, to be honest.
Mm,
So I found that through coming back to Qigong and learning and training in Qigong, I really have become more embodied in myself.
mm.
I feel so much more grounded and just clearer in who I am. And I think that's the richness of this practice,
Mm.
is it just can bring everybody into what I love the term a natural state of balance.
Wow.
It's beautiful. So we work very much with breath to access energy. We work and to help to just down regulate the central nervous system, which I think everybody can do with, especially in our busy lives today. And we work with awareness to just help to create that felt sense connection, which again allows us to become more inwards, connecting deeply with ourselves. And we use movement and all these aspects of our energy together to release tension and tightness, almost through an invitation to the body to let go. And for
Oh,
me,
that's
that
so beautiful. That's so beautiful. An invitation to the body to let go. And yes, our physical body is one of the other bodies that we have, the energetic body, the astral body. So, but it's so important to take care of this physical body as well, because you mentioned the like feeling ungrounded before. This is such an important thing because yes, when we live a busy life, it's very easy to be distracted by so many different things. And if we can't find that center to ground ourselves, it's also hard to focus on all of these different things that we want to focus on.
Absolutely. And you know, in Qigong, we move from our center. So it's really connecting to the richness within our center and that deep place of stability, that place of strength, so that we can ground. Also, that's very stabilizing for our heart. So
Mm.
our emotions become a little bit more balanced. And also by working with breath, awareness, and movement, our mind becomes very engaged, which stops it, you know, being on the roller coaster of life and brings it down into the present moment through that mind body connection. It's really powerful, really, and a real tool to have in life,
Mm.
you know.
Thank you for doing this work and bringing the awareness into the world as well. And you know, you mentioned that you're like normally a very energetic person. I wouldn't say that. Like, by watching your videos, I would have never said that you would be like very upbeat and energetic, but it makes absolute sense as you're describing. You wanted to find your own balance, your own peace. And when you talk about working from the center, or like doing this practice from the center, do you refer to your heart center or solar plexus or any other places in the body?
So similar to chakras in Qigong, we have what we call the three energy centers, and they're called the dantians. So
Mm.
in our center, so if we think of the umbilical cord, beginning of life, that is our center. So that would be the earth energy. So stability, strength, and support. And then we have the mind, which connects to the universe, which is inspiration, that intuition, insights. And then the two meet in the heart, creating life, nature. And so we work from, you know, from our center, but in a sense from all of these centers, because they're all connected, we're all integrated. So working with these, and I love the saying, the three treasures. I think it's beautiful.
Mm.
Working with these to help really bring that depth of inner balance is so magical. But the movement starts from the center. So it's kind of like a tree. Trees are the best Qigong teachers. They
Mm.
are rooted, grounded, pulling nourishment. Their trunks are resilient and they're strong. So they have a lot of strength in their foundation, but they move with the wind. They don't try to move the wind. And it's such a wonderful lesson for us to learn in the aspects of life, to go more with the flow. And as they branch out into their potential, upwards, outwards, into the light. So as human beings, we can have that same grounding. We don't have the roots like the tree, but we have energetic roots.
Mm.
So to really connect deeply to the earth enables us to be really present. So we can be open-minded and our heart can be free. Because for me, the energy is freedom. Freedom to express who we truly are, freedom to meet life with joy and lightness. You know, that's what the magic is in the moment. And when we're really present in ourselves, it opens, it
Mm.
reveals its magic.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's proven now. There have been so many studies to show us that our heart is the first to receive information from the energetic field. It receives the information 2 seconds before our brain does, and how important it is to be in touch with all of these points in our body. And I love how you explained about like the roots and it being similar to how a tree is and going with the wind, because I actually made a post, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, with a picture of a tree. I took this picture and I remember that tree. It changed its shape by how much the wind like came through.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, yes, the wind will come in terms of like challenges, different situations in life, but you have to keep your essence. You have to remain rooted in your power and how important that is. So I know that Qigong is often described as a moving meditation. How would you say that movement, breath, and awareness work together bring this balance that all of us need?
I think through the breath, we connect to life. As we breathe in life. And as we breathe out our essence into life. And I think our breath is our gateway to come inwards. It's our gateway to communicate with the central nervous system that we're safe. And it's our gateway to notice how we truly feel, because our breath will express how we feel. So often if we don't breathe in strongly, or our breath is shallow, maybe we can't take too much more in. And if our breath is limited on the out breath, maybe we have a fear or a tendency to just hold ourselves in with not wanting to let go. And with working with our awareness, in Qigong, we have a saying, where our awareness goes, the Qi follows. So Qi is described as the life force energy that beats our heart, makes the oceans flow. Gong means to work skillfully with. So in the first part of class, we work with the breath to access energy, help to settle into ourselves through the sensation, which is the language of the body. We then do movement, and it can range. There's so many different types of movement, so it makes it accessible to everyone. It can be modified and adapted. And that's to open up the pathways of energy. So when we hold stress and tightness, we become contracted, restricted, that the energy can't flow. So through our awareness and breath, we let go of that stress and tension, allow the energy to feel that aliveness within ourselves. And then the end, or sort of the big part of class, which is really the moving meditation, is the flow. Mm. And when we go into flow, it's a real deep sense of letting go in all aspects of our energy into the motion of life, and to feel carried on the waves of life. So at the beginning of class, it's more that we guide and direct the energy. And in the flow, we move the energy. It's almost like being pulled through a movement. It's effortless. Mm-hmm. So Qigong is often described as the art of effortless movement. And it's a really beautiful way to feel deeply connected to who we are, where we're from, in all aspects of our life, because Qigong is a way of life. It's not just a practice that we maybe do an hour a day, but it's something that I've really just found it, for example, if I'm walking the dog, nature becomes so animated. Mm. Every moment just unfolds its magic. It just really brings that aliveness into every aspect of your day. I'm not saying it's an easy ride, that challenges don't knock you off center, but that's the gong, that's the work. We have to work at keeping on center, keeping that sense of balance, harmony. It's not easy. I can do a practice and 5 minutes later I'll be, So, that's the reality. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you're in the car trying to get somewhere.
Exactly that. And, for me, I really notice, because we're creatures of connection, we have our hands, it's like the extension of the heart. It's how we meet people, it's how we meet life. And for me, sometimes it really shocks me that when I'm driving, how much tension in my hands. So it's that real sense of that deep trust to let go. Mm. And when we can slow down and really come into the moment, there's a saying, we are like fish out of water. We do not realize the energy, the ocean of energy we are in. And when we slow down, this ocean reveals itself, and it is truly healing. And there's a full spectrum of energy available. But with life being so fast, we just miss that. And Qigong gives us that ability to embrace that, to remember that, and to come back to our potential, that healing potential that we all hold.
Oh, absolutely. Every single person, I think, holds such huge potential for healing. And if you would have said this to me 20 years ago, I would have said, well, no, that's not possible. But I think that every single time I connected with my body and with the universe and with the energy within and around, and invited my body to guide me to the types of things that I was supposed to do or eat, or just to be, just to reflect. I've seen incredible healing happen in so many different ways and at different stages in my life. So Thank you so much for sharing all of this, because just as you're talking about this, Rowana, I just feel this meditative state, because your voice and your energy comes across like that, really calm and really balanced. And
Thank you.
thank you for bringing that into the world and into your classes, the classes that you teach. So I know we talked quite a bit about how fast is this world that we're living in right now, and everything is fast paced and fast food and fast everything is fast.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that, but yes, yeah,
Yes,
fast food and everything it is, yeah.
yes,
Okay.
everything. And also like even with the deliveries, like buy today, receive tomorrow, everything is promoted as happening at a very high speed. So how does someone who is so busy in life find a bit of time to do something like this, Qigong?
Well, this is the beauty of it. In just 5 minutes, just by connecting to one's breath, and for me, this is my own personal opinion. So when I get up in the morning, my head is so busy in ways I'm crafting and creating to share this practice that I can drive myself completely mad, you know. So for me, it's just checking in with the breath. And one beautiful way to do it is in what we call wave breathing. But first is just to connect to the center. So the hands over the abdomen, and just to take a couple of breaths and to let your breath express, to not change the breath, but to witness the breath. And just with that witnessing and to come into that sensation, which is the language of the body, that deep felt sense, that mind body connection deepens. And what I personally witness is the breath slows down, and people express this in the class as well. We don't sometimes have to deeply try and control the breath. The breath knows exactly where to go. Our body knows exactly where to take us, and that is to feeling relaxed. And so, just 5 minutes of just breathing can alter quite quickly how we're feeling. And to add movement into that is obviously movement. Our bodies are so beautifully designed for movement. So movement feels to me so natural as our expression. We use our hands, we're very expressive in our bodies of how we communicate. So by using the breath and movement, you can, for example, you can do like a couple of breaths, and then you could do a releasing, like what we call purging, to let go. And just those two things by themselves, 5-10 minutes can transform somebody's day. It doesn't, you don't, I think the biggest struggle is to think that we have to put an hour aside and stress about trying to put that hour aside, which is really, really hard. So just starting with 5 minutes and feeling and noticing the shift in our nature and how we feel encourages us to maybe extend it a little bit. And that natural pathway of that feeling inspired by what we're doing, feeling happy about what we're doing, it doesn't become stressful, it becomes more natural. So that's a really good place to start. So when I first started training with my teacher, I used to do 10 minutes. And this was when I was studying up in London a long time ago. And that was wonderful. And then I thought, I want to do more. So I started to do 20 minutes. And then it got more. So, in the morning I'll do my own practice, and it depends on what time I have.
Mm.
So I'll work around that. I'll try and not stress myself. I'm not saying that always works, but I'll just try and bring myself back and let my body unfold into what it feels that it needs. And it's like with a class, I'll start off kind of with an idea of a flow, but often it will go off in a different direction. So, you know, I think it's accessible.
Yeah, and then you're reading the energy of the room, I guess, and then you go with the
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah.
What an amazing thing to know that you can start with those 5 minutes, and especially when you wake up in the morning, as you were talking about it, I could just feel again the energy of like imagining the start of the day, doing all of these things, doing some movement. What an absolute blessing for our body, mind, and soul to start the day like that, because we can always make a choice to start stressed and like really immediately go to a lot of news and watching something or hearing something that can disturb us, we might look into that later in the day. But if we start our day on a positive note, I think it changes everything. And then if it takes just 5 minutes in the morning, I guess if we have busy days, even when you take a break, you eat, and then you have 5 minutes after you had your meal or lunch, I guess you can incorporate these 5 minutes if life is incredibly busy throughout the day. And what a difference this makes.
A huge difference. And when I teach classes, I'll often get, the important thing is to see the progress that we're making. I think as humans, we love to have that proof of practice.
Yeah.
So we have what we call holding a chi ball, which is a lovely way to just feel the energy. And it's really good to start at the beginning of class and to feel the quality and quantity of your energy. And then at the end of class, but we'll do it through the class because it's really beautiful to sense the shift. It's really quite magical. And that is when we have a practice in our lives that we're inspired by, it doesn't become a task, it becomes a pleasure.
Mm.
Yeah. And so I think that's the magic of, for me, Qigong.
And then it becomes like a treat to yourself, and who doesn't want a treat?
Yeah. And if I don't do my practice, I really feel it as I go through my day.
Mm.
I just feel much more contracted, um,
Mm.
less open to opportunities. I just have that much more caught up in what I'm doing rather than being a little bit more spacious and expansive. It gives us that space to step back a little bit so we don't feel that everything's in front of us, and our vision becomes less linear and
Mm.
more peripheral, circular.
Mm. Absolutely. And so I know, Rana, that you also practice biodynamic craniosacral therapy. That's like a mouthful of an expression. Can you tell us more about that, and how is this connecting with your practice of doing Qigong?
Oh, it's a beautiful formula, the two of them together. So biodynamic craniosacral therapy is a really beautiful, gentle therapy. It's very non-invasive, but it's very potent. And it works with, from myself feeling relaxed, it sends an invitation and facilitates a safe space and an opportunity for somebody that I'm working with or who's coming to their body to uptake that invitation. So we work very much with invitation, and it's a very client-led therapy. So the client body leads the session. It's very much again coming into that space where the central nervous system down regulates, creating that safe space for somebody to feel that they can relax. And then once that happens, the body will then start to open. So it's very much a listening therapy, listening to the different rhythms, sensations within the body, and working with the internal resources that the client has to help to facilitate a release, a letting go. And sometimes it's like somebody coming, if they're feeling really tired, it's almost like plugging them in, like we plug a gadget in.
Mm.
And they'll go away feeling like, oh, I felt like I've slept. I've had the best sleep ever. And they've been on the couch for an hour, which is really beautiful. And it's really much about for them to come into that felt sense again. So it's about bringing our energy inwards again, settling, connecting to that sensation that is within us. And our body will tell us how we're feeling. We know when we have a pain. And if we don't listen, the pain will get worse.
Mm.
So it's very much coming back into that connection with the body, facilitating a space for somebody to feel safe, for their body to open and express.
Mm.
And working through invitation, and if the body is feeling ready and in a safe space, it will gently release. It would depend again who you're working with. So it's a very wide subject.
And probably depends on how familiar that person is with these kind of practices, or how much they trust themselves, I guess, as well, because it's I know that when you go to a place for healing, and us healers would go to some places for healing too, you want to know that you feel connected with yourself and then comfortable with the space. And it's clear that those people who come to you, they need your space, and then they need healing for themselves too. So if you were to think about a pattern in terms of who is attracted to the work that you do, what kind of people would you say, or what kind of problems do they have when they come to you?
Ooh, there's many different types of problems. I mean, I have people that come monthly and they say it's like having an MOT, which is lovely. So, I mean, in both of the practice, I think obviously a lot of women my age come to my class. We have the younger women too. I have some gentlemen that come, which is lovely because sometimes it seems a little bit more, I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, that's lovely. That's opening up. So I think a lot of it is people are feeling quite exhausted, looking for a way to take more control of their own health, to feel more empowered, to to step back into themselves. So I think, you know, a lot of it could be, I mean, with the cranial, it's very much working a lot with people with migraines and headaches, tension in the body. So again, and with Qigong, same thing. It's people wanting to slow down. It's people wanting to step back because they're feeling physically in their body what they're carrying. So
Mm,
I hope that makes sense.
yes, absolutely.
Um, but the two together for me, Qigong and Biodynamic Craniosacral Therapy, in a few words, really help us to reconnect, help us to reset, rebalance, and re-establish who we are, and where would we like to take ourselves.
Mm. What a beautiful journey. And when we do these things repeatedly, it definitely creates a big change in our life. And so I know, Rowana, that you always and often share your love for nature and also to teach in outdoor spaces. Why do you think nature adds beauty to everything that we talked about today?
Because we are nature.
Mm,
I mean, you know, we are the expression of nature, just as the birds, the trees, the oceans. And for me, you know, we can practice anywhere, but when we practice outside, it's an opening. It's an opening deeper within us. It resonates deeper. The energy expresses sometimes deeper. But you know, Qigong can be practiced anywhere. You know, it doesn't matter if you're 20 floors up or if you've got your feet in the soil. It doesn't matter.
mm,
It's our imagination, using that creativity of our imagination to craft and create where we are at that place in time. How can we access this ocean of energy? And how can we utilize and harmonize with that energy to really deepen our sense of overall well-being?
mm,
But to practice in nature is just heaven. You know, you can feel. We did a lovely session last week and we did what we call dancing with the trees. And it was lovely because I looked over and one of the trees, it was smiling. I have to say it was smiling. And then we went and did this beautiful move with the tree. And the tree was shimmering. It was stunning. You know, the
mm,
bird song became more expressive. Everything becomes more animated. Uh,
mm.
it's
And when
like,
we
sorry, go on.
No, and when we notice these little details, when we look at the leaves, and I remember when I was going through a lot of courses about like psychic development and stuff years ago, I remember we had exercises like, hey, look at a leaf and look at all the lines and remember the lines, and then put the leaf to the side and really connect with the energy of it. And I think this is such a beautiful thing to connect with nature.
I heard a saying the other day, I'll try and remember. When we're trying to take care of ourselves, instead of just trying to take care of the leaves of the tree, take care of the roots.
Mhm.
I really liked that.
Mm,
That really is kind of, to me, brings all of the benefits of craniosacral therapy and Qigong, because we come inwards and we connect with the roots of who we are. We connect with our essence in our heart, and we connect with that inspiration of who we are in our minds.
Mm.
And when we can feel that sense of coming back to that state of balance, is incredibly healing, incredibly powerful for us as individuals and as a society, because that ripples out through, you
It
know.
is a ripple effect, because when we heal ourselves, it's not just our own individual persona. It's so much more that's happening around us as well. And yes, I love this story that you shared with us with connecting with the trees, because I think, yes, we can walk past like some trees and just say, yeah, whatever, that's just a tree there. But then it's a completely different story when you stop by that tree. Maybe you can hug the tree as
Yeah,
well and just
absolutely. Yeah.
listen to what it has to say. I love these practices to kind of really be in nature and see what nature is telling you. And thank you for explaining what kind of effect it has when you do this kind of practice in nature, because it is clear that it completely removes all the stress and noise that can be unnecessary at times. So I know that you hold space for so many people, for your clients, for the society, because as you mentioned, it changes everything. How do you recharge your energy? Where do you go for inspiration? Is it the same source?
Nature is a big
Mm,
one. My Qigong practice, I have treatments myself in cranial, which is really important for my own well-being. But I would say my practice of Qigong in the mornings is my routing for myself. Um, I love being outside with my family and friends in nature and my lovely dog. I will spend as much time outside as possible. Um, I love to watch comedies, funny comedies to make me laugh. I love laughter. That really makes my heart sing. Um, and I just think loving life, from the work that I do, I have such a joy. And that really helps me to take care of me, because it's not a chore. When I get up in the morning, I'm excited to get up because I'm going to do Qigong.
mm,
You know, when I go walking out in nature, I'm excited because I love to see what's there. I love to hear the sounds. I love to stop and I love to pause. Doesn't matter how long it takes to have a walk in nature, but it might
mm.
take, like I was saying this morning when I was going to class, there was the tractor. So sometimes it's just that reminder, and to remind myself it's okay to be still. It's okay to pause. We don't have to always keep pressing the go button.
Mm.
Sometimes, like the old tape recorder decks, showing my age now, you have the pause button. Such a good thing. Yeah, to just come back to stillness, because in stillness is motion, and that motion is healing.
It is very healing and very important. And that's the reason why I had the intention to share and highlight all of these stories here, because I believe that it's so important to hear about like all of these kind of practices and our like everybody's passion and your dedication to this path as well, because it is a commitment. Because you could have said, hey, you know what, I'm just gonna do this practice for myself, but you listened to your calling to help other people and guide others too. And this is a commitment. And so to everyone who's watching us, please make sure you check out the description of this video to know how you can connect with Rowana, to see what her location is, check out her classes, her teachings. She's absolutely amazing at what she does, and connect with her on social media and on any other links that you'll see below. And so, Rowana, as we are wrapping up this episode, to someone who maybe feels disconnected or overwhelmed or stressed, what would you suggest as one step towards more balance for themselves?
To breathe, to just breathe and invite a nice release, a nice exhale out through the mouth, as
Mm,
a real sense of trusting, letting go, and that, you know, to remember it's okay to feel tension, but it's also okay to let it go, and to thank our body for carrying it, keeping us safe. It's okay to let it go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rowana, for being here today, for your beautiful presence. And thank you to everyone watching this episode. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe, like this video, let us know your thoughts. And I can't wait to see you again next time. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.